video is being brought to you by the TechTual approach to breaking into cybersecurity ebook. If you're thinking about getting into cybersecurity, discovering your ideal role, having trouble getting interviews, having trouble in your interviews, need LinkedIn help, or all the above, then this is the book for you. You can purchase this book at TechTualConsulting.com/digital products. The link will be in the description. Let's see this. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the TechTual Talk, where I'm your host, HD. We got a special guest with us, man. One of my former clients, Mr. Ricarlos Hunt. I'm gonna let the music vibe out a little bit. I don't know if I can freestyle like this. I'm a SOC coach. Shout out to Eric Thomas. But yeah, man. First of all, man, appreciate you for taking out time of your day to meet with me on a Friday, man. I know everybody got a lot going on, but go ahead and give the people a little bit of your background, kind of like how you started, and we'll go from there. I got a lot of questions for you.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure people do too.
Yeah, I originally how I got started was that I was working at a customer service job with a whole bunch of stuff. Like I was doing appliance repair, from working in store to working out of the store, working with customers and stuff like that. And they ended up getting rid of the position, and then they tried to give me a low ball for coming back on and that. And so I ended up making a decision where I had an option, right? Because I had saved up a lot of money. So I had an option to try to study and get into IT, or to keep doing what I'm doing. And so I decided, man, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to see what IT working with. And man, it worked out in my favor. And it took me probably like 2 months to get a job in IT.
I'm muted. You've got to tell the people where you're from.
Okay, yeah.
And like kind of what led you to come to Texas?
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit of that in there.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Louisiana, Ruston, Louisiana, and and so I ended up moving to Kansas City, and I played soccer up there for a little bit at a school, and then I ended up coming to Texas to be closer to family, and that's how I kind of got around to being in Texas. Yeah.
Man, so hold on, you nice with football like
that? Am I nice with football? I used to be.
Man, because I didn't know you played football, man.
Yeah, I used to be. I used to play a lot of sports. Yeah.
You ain't got to join the league around here yet?
I joined it so I won't get fat, because I'm just sitting behind a keyboard now and just tap, 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 so.
Trust me.
I used to do manual labors. Hey, the brain sweats, they get you though.
No, that's why I go. I try to do like 3 to 4 days. Well, this week I probably only get 2 days of working out because I was so busy. But most of the time I try to do 3 to 4 days working out. And I pretty much kind of monitor for the most part kind of what I eat, breakfast and lunch and dinner.
Man, dog.
Quick, let me do
people
something.
Don't talk about it though, but like to be good in a space where you're using your brain, dog, you gotta like take care of your body. Man, that's not really heavily talked about. In the office, people bring donuts and everything, and nobody really talking about like, in order to be really good at what you're doing, like it takes like a lot of taking care of your body and mental strength. So
right. And last thing, do y'all have standing desk? Cause I know you have to go in the office sometimes.
Yeah, so
right?
we actually do have standing desks. Yeah.
Nice. Whenever I move, I plan to get a standing desk, because they got I might get to, it's like the below desk elliptical, so you can use that when you're sitting down all day. But to segue into some other things. So, okay. Let's talk about when you first got into IT. What were you doing?
So when I first got into IT, I was doing I was doing help desk. I was doing anything repairing any type of technology on the campus. Like when network issues showed up, I was there. I was on the spot, and everything kind of flowed through me. Whether I was uh, actually doing it, like for example, configuring like IPs whenever things got knocked off a line to put them back online, or creating static IPs or whatever it was, like it was channeling through me. Um, or if it was I was doing it or it was channeling through me. So sometimes like it'll be the network engineer that I would get in contact with and say, hey man, like this is an issue on the campus. He'll tell me what to do or if I can't do it on the campus, he'll be like, I got it, you know. And so, but with that, you know, you got to ask a lot of people questions. Like, I remember talking to the security engineer guy, and he dropped some gems on me. He was like, because I was like super excited. You know, I wanted to be in security, so I was like, okay, man, like, you know, tell me like, you know, what you gotta do, or you know, I was very curious, and I was like, you know, what's one thing you wanna give me? What's one piece of advice you give me? And he was like, man, like the best piece of advice I've ever gotten is to shut up and listen. And that one, it went far with me. I was like, because you know, if you just ask somebody something, sometimes, and you try to act like you know it all, sometimes they won't even give you they won't give
Mm-hmm.
you any other time because they don't want somebody to think they know it all, you know. So
Definitely. And you learn the vital skill about knowing what questions to ask. I think that's underrated. A lot of people don't know what to ask. And doing a particular job that you came from, it trains you in knowing that. But so, about how long did you do that first role before you got sick and tired of it?
that's a good question. Man, it didn't take nothing but 6 months. Actually, to get tired of it, to be honest, it took about 3 months. but
Yeah, I mean,
which
no, go
no,
ahead.
you got it, brother.
I was gonna say because my last episode, Adrian was saying she did like help desk for like 6 years. Like, sheesh. I was like,
Whoa.
most people we get tired of it within like I like you like three to 6 months, and I was over it because I was told one thing and they did something else.
Right. And you kind of figure it out. Like, I mean, I'm at the job, man. I spend a lot of time just studying stuff because I'm like, like,
A lot of
yeah,
downtime.
I figured it out. Like when something break, I'm like troubleshooting all day. Like, boom, boom, boom. I've been through this before, and if I haven't, then I just, I go back through my methodology. Like, start with the same thing, and then you figure it out, and then you document it, and then you just go back to your documentation. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So once you hit that 6 month mark, is that what prompted you to start getting your certs and stuff? Like, give me some feedback on that, and then we'll tie into like how you found me and all the other stuff, and we'll get into the good
Yeah,
part.
for sure. Like I think the search for me was like I felt like I was like, man, I can't really do this. Like I've never been really good at school. But man, taking a test and learning how to pass a test, man, that's not difficult. Like if you figure out like especially when you have knowledge, and yeah, it's not difficult at all. And so that was like, man, that's the least of your worries, learning how to pass a test. I think more than that, learning how to, first of all, how to right mindset, but then also learning how to gain methodologies and a lot of grit, to be honest, like mental grit. I never knew coming into this space, I'll be using my brain like I am. Like that's what really uh, got me kind of down a little bit because I was like, man, like, I'm constantly using my mind. And so you got to learn how to like build up that mental capacity to keep moving, and keep pushing.
Definitely. So let's get into. I remember when you reached out to me. I can't remember if we decided to go with the service when you first reached out to me or what, but where did you see me on LinkedIn first, YouTube? Where did you see
Man,
me at?
YouTube, bro. Like I think everybody goes to YouTube to try to get to try to get help, man. So props to you, bro. Like, man, YouTube is like, like once I did that, I just pivoted it to LinkedIn. I just found your name and I was like, man, like he lives in my area.
What did you like? Where you type in, like just
No, I
cybersecurity,
typed in
or what?
your
I'm trying to get the
name.
people
I
some
typed in
tips
I
to
typed
find
in
me.
your name,
Oh, okay.
and so I was like,
No, 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 not on LinkedIn. I'm talking about on YouTube. How did I pop up on YouTube?
oh, like they share things with you, but I was just typing in like how to break into cybersecurity. Like I think that was what I was looking for. Like, and man, you were just like
Yeah.
breaking that thing down, and I was like, well, it's possible because he's like, I was like, I got to get in contact with this dude at least kind of reach out to him and just like kind of let him know, man, like my intentions, and so
Yeah, definitely. I was able to tell, I think when we talked, like, you meant, what you were saying, and you took a pretty much like a leap of faith, to say, like, to book with me. That's why I am always thankful when people I don't want to say put their career in my hands, but trust me enough to help them. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes a lot, because it's a lot of information out here that, for the most part, sometimes it's true, and then sometimes it's just false. People are trying to get money. That's definitely not my MO. I typically try to tell everybody, hey, check out some of my YouTube and all my other stuff, if you want to. And then if you like what you see, like, come book with me.
mm,
That therefore, everything's not every time you just come to me, oh, do this and do that. Unless like somebody just sent me a long message or something, for an Instagram request and a message. So I was like, hey, best way for me to help you would be a consultation. And that's only because they had a lot of stuff to say. And now my time is more limited than it was at first when I was doing this about a year ago. So that's pretty much how that is. And man, the time has gone by because I moved back to Texas in May.
yeah.
And I think about March. I think it's almost been a year for you at Critical
Yeah,
Start, right?
it's about to be 10 months, yeah, something like that. Yeah, so it's been a while. Yeah.
Definitely. It's crazy. It didn't seem like that. It seemed like that was a
I
while ago.
know.
But so I'm trying to see, when you found me, I think you were still studying for one of those certs or
Yeah,
something
I
like
was
that. I
still
can't
studying
remember.
for
Where
Security
were you studying
Plus.
for?
I was studying for Security Plus, and you were like, you don't necessarily need it, but then I still had the idea. I was like, well, I kind of need it. And so I was like, I'll hit you up when I finish this cert. like when I finish this cert, then I'll come connect with you, and so I'll connect with you fully. And I'm a full believer that like it takes money, like investing in yourself in order to get to where you want to be. So for me, like, man, your consultation was like so cheap. Um and I was like, man, like, well, like people invest in themselves with boot camps, all different type of things, but like I was like, man, like this guy, he can help me get a job, or at least give me the methodology or the ideas, like how the processes of like how to do it. And so I was like, well, and if I don't like it, I could unsubscribe.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much it now. That structure is a little bit different now, but definitely, and we're gonna get into that, because I've talked about you plenty of times, not necessarily your name, but telling people like, hey, you're complaining about this. But because one thing is, those people believe in it. If you believe in investing in yourself, then cool. Because the issue comes in, people always want to complain. I could have been charging $10, and somebody would complain that it's not free. And I'm like, look, I don't have as much time, so you're paying for my expertise and time. But a lot of people not understanding that how much I spend on schooling.
Right.
Like, if I was to charge some of that price, you know what I'm saying? People are getting way more value than I ever really got out of school from the simple stuff that I tell people to do. And I always tell people, hey, if you just come in, be coachable, and listen to me, you will be successful. You might not get to the end goal then. You might just get a stepping stone role, but you can still take that same stuff and apply it and get the
Right,
next
right.
role.
And
Like,
to be honest, like
um,
I would have paid $100, man, a month to book with you with what I know now. Like I would have paid that much
Yeah.
because
Did you
you got it.
did you look around before you
No,
booked?
I didn't have any like
Okay.
idea about anything about consult, like having a consultant or anything like that. Nobody to really like I just knew what I wanted to do and I was like, well, I was
Mhm.
like, like man, like, we pay money for Udemy courses all day long. Like, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I got a person I actually talk to, I can actually communicate with, I can actually bounce ideas off of. And to be honest, it is what you get in what you put in too, like in a sense of like, you got to put forth the effort. And so I just needed somebody to guide me and to kind of give me the idea, of like how do you do this? You've been where I haven't, and like you've paved your own way. Like how can I pave my way?
Yeah, man, and definitely this guy right here, guys. If y'all watching, oh, man, look, we are so far into the session. I even told you, man. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, subscribe on the podcast feed, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Google Podcasts, you name it. But this guy, I'm gonna brag on him a little bit. He's one of the people that like I always still consider like some of my favorite past clients. It's about I have like a top three right now, really, of you guys. Right now, the women are beating y'all. It's like two women to one man.
uh,
So need another guy to come in there. To well, I mean, you know what? It might be for y'all. Like, honestly, it's crazy. I said this year I'm gonna keep track of like who all I help. Last year I didn't keep track. I just was just happy, I could help somebody.
mhm.
Like, I'm just as happy when people say, "Hey, they got an offer," as I'm getting an offer. Just because I know how it feels to go from we're gonna you know what we gonna I'm jumping the gun. So this is what we're gonna do. All right, boom. So you book with me. From the time you book with me, how long? And look, guys, he ain't got no script or nothing. He's gonna be honest. This is
Hands up.
actually testimonial time. Let me hit the air horn real quick.
uh,
Look, but then from when you book with me, approximately how long did it take you that you end up in the role you're in now?
Man, I think it took me like a week and 2 weeks to seal the deal. Like with like
Right. And at the time, what did you pay?
I paid $30. I paid $30.
And and how much more did you get paid at your job over what you was getting paid?
Man, I'll probably 40 grand. I was like up 40 grand. Maybe, yeah, 40.
So, and what I was telling people is the fact that like I said I had a person, pay the money to book with me, and they only needed 1 month, and their return on the investment. I still don't even know how to calculate like what you got out of that. But I was like, to pay that, or even even if it would have been more, but the fact to get that much out of it, that's why I tell people. I was like, just invest in yourself and it'll pay off. But do your due diligence. Don't just book with me because I said book with me.
Yeah.
Look at my consistency and my track record, my reviews, what I say. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but now I've been like in different Twitter spaces, and I've become this person that stands on integrity when it comes to getting in that field. Because unlike some other job roles, I take security serious. I don't, you know, I don't jokingly tell people, "Hey, come book with me. I'm gonna help you get a 6-figure job." I don't tell people any of that stuff because the simple fact is that I need the person next to me to know what they're doing or have the aptitude to know how to do it. If not, then in security, most of the time your weakest link is your people. So that's why I take it serious. I've been through breaches. I know how it is when people mess up and hopefully, y'all not getting fired. That's the part people don't really talk about a lot. And it can be very interesting. The time and stuff you got to spend and stay up because you're down 3 people, or you have clients that's been hit with ransomware, so now you doing or making sure your team didn't miss the alert. Man, it's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So it's just crazy. But let me also brag on this guy, because from day one, boom, he booked. We had our call. I made my recommendations for him to fix his resume. He did his resume on his own. That's the one thing. Another thing, I don't push people to do their resume. Actually, now I have a resume and LinkedIn service, like just by itself. Because sometimes I tell people now, I was like, look, you may be close enough to where I don't even need to do your resume. Just do the resume review service. And if you need a new resume, then I'll just take money off from what you paid from that. So he wasn't far off. He found some templates or something he found online or however he created it. And, with the suggestions I made in that, he ended up started getting some interviews, and then he took it a step further. I told him, hey, network on his LinkedIn, talk about this and that. And this all happened within a week, guys. He takes it a step further and decides to make a video about me, just like they'll ask you in an interview, like why he chose to get into cybersecurity, his passion, and why he likes it. And I feel like that helped him the most. I don't know if any of the interviewers ever saw that, but the fact that he did that, something I didn't tell him, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be successful. So I wasn't too shocked when I found out he got the job offer, and he pretty much actually came in more qualified than most of the people that at that company that they ever hired. So that's me bragging on you and telling. That's why I tell people, I have a clip. It's like, if you want to be successful with me, come in ready to work and you'll be successful. I haven't had anybody who hadn't really just not executed at the highest level not be successful with me. But so, hats off to you for that.
Yeah. And what was really crazy though was like
Had to give you some
yeah.
claps.
Yeah. What was really crazy was like when you went through the process of like LinkedIn, like and like breaking it down, like this is how you use LinkedIn, and like this is what you need on your LinkedIn, this is what you don't need on your LinkedIn. Like it was like, I mean, if you were trying to like help somebody get a date, it's like let's revamp your LinkedIn.
No, all of it is branding.
Man, that's so true.
Hey, look, guys, this is almost like God talk a little bit, but back in the days, I used to be on Tinder and Bumble. So I'll know choose the best picture of my about me, how I present myself depends on who gonna swipe right on me. It's similar to when you're on social media the same way. Your brand is the perspective of you. So a recruiter possibly looking at you and they can see what you're about, what you're looking for, they get a good perspective of you. This is something we touched on in the Twitter space last night. About like how to network inline and offline. And we were talking about like your brand and your perception of why it's so important to brand yourself, or why that can help you out and growing your network organically. And now that when people, because I was a person that was underutilized on LinkedIn at a point in time as well. So once I started doing it, I said, hey, do this. And the thing about me is everything that I tell people to do, I have receipts because I've did it myself. It's in my ebook as well. I never tell anybody to do anything I wouldn't do. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's also like people can rock with me and vibe with me. It's like, cause they're like, well, I see in his book he did this. So it's not like he's just telling me to do some crap that he ain't never did or some stuff he still doesn't do. And even now I'm reinventing myself even more. If people have been paying attention to my posts, I've been doing more thought-provoking posts, getting people to react, and they're coming on and talking about their experiences. That's really what it's all about. I get attention from all type of people. All type of people have been viewing my profile lately, just off of a couple of posts I've made.
Yeah, and I even I went back, I grabbed the ebook, man, I read through that. It
Yeah, I saw
it
that.
was, I think I read through it in just one sitting, and so it was easy read.
Make sure you leave that review too.
Hey, look, I wanted to remain anonymous, man. I was like, I don't know why this fool got like.
Well, the reason why I took anonymous off is because I didn't want people to come through saying, "Oh, he's just making up
Right, right.
reviews." So that's the reason why, because people do that now. It's a whole different world when it comes to this content creator writing and courses thing. It's a lot of tricky stuff going on there. But yeah, the objective of the book was not for it to be super long and boring. It was meant to be short and concise, and it was more so based on value and not the length of the book. So I
Mm,
said, this is super cheap. I was telling people, and they don't believe me when I first pitched the book to people. I said, hey, if you want to get probably like $100 or $1,000 worth of like game that I would give you like through coaching sessions or something, like get this
dude,
book.
that's so crazy.
This I was like, this is equivalent of having coaching with me for like a
Hey, I
couple of
never knew
months.
when people say, man, pick up a book and it's like you get to be mentored by a person. And I was like, I picked up your book and I was like, man, it was like I was talking to you all over again. And dude, those like the process don't change. So I'm like, I'm reviewing and going back over. So I'm like, oh, cool. Like that never changed and it still works today. So um, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend that if anybody looking to get, for a cheap price, looking to get advice, and you can't necessarily afford consulting, and grab that ebook. You know.
Right. And shoot, man, the people, it's funny because if they would have joined the mailing list at first, I gave a book away for like to 15, 20 people for like 50 cents.
Whoa.
And then a couple of people for like half off. Yeah. So that's why I told people, I said, hey, join the mailing list because I'm gonna have some specials going on. I still may run specials from time to time. It's pretty cool. I'm actually more into doing that. I'm more into probably creating some more coursework and things like that. I think it's a little bit more helpful when people can learn at their own pace. Um, Besides kind of waiting on me because I've raised my prices some too, so I can get certain type of clients too, and limit how many people I have. Because if I say a certain price, then I'm be overwhelmed. But let's segue into you got your first sock roll now, and kind of tell the people what's your experiences. How was it? Anything compared to what you thought it was going to be? Growing pains. What you think? What you would do differently that you probably would like try to study before taking on a role like this, and everything else.
Yeah, I would say so. Um, I would say I would start off with like kind of like what I would do differently if I was started back over and went into as an analyst. So I would say I think everybody wants to start off red team, like 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 you want to, first day you want to jump in and start cutting stuff, um, and that's the idea, like. But I would say, man, like when you first go to a job, spend 6 months on, well, if you got a proprietary platform, spend 6 months on that proprietary platform, learn the tools, just engulf yourself in. And then after that 6 months, when that 6 months hit, um, man, then you can go and be free and do and have fun and explore and study more. But spend that first 6 months, man, just totally locked in. And because I kind of started off and I was like, man, I want to, like I want to do a whole bunch of red team stuff, like I'm gonna learn Linux, like jumping on everything. My brain was just kind of like spinning across the room, and and guys that necessarily didn't necessarily have the qualifications I had or whatever, they came in, but they were so focused on the task at hand that in some ways, man, they excelled a little bit quicker than I did. And so I had to go back and say, I had to catch myself and go back and learn the processes and learn everything. That way I could be a better asset to the team. And so the biggest thing, man, just stay focused. Like, like cancel everything else. There's like a saying, like go with the flow. We call it flow with the go. Like, man, just enjoy where you at and just learn. Like you're gonna be okay. There's nothing that you're gonna lose, in that 6 months. Like the world's still gonna be spinning,
Yeah.
everything.
Right. And yeah, I would definitely touch on that because one of the things I see a lot of newer people do, the shiny object syndrome. Oh, I want to touch this. I want to touch this. I want to touch this, and all that's good. But how the saying goes. Well, actually, the saying is actually a master of many things is better than a master of none. But a lot of people try to downplay that one. But it's really hard to be a master of many things when you haven't mastered anything at all in the beginning. And like you said, it could cause you to have some blind spots to where those people, you know, yeah, they might not have as many credentials as you, but they're so focused and they got good at one thing that they got to go do something else. And I always compare everything about sports and boxing, and I always focus on like the simplest thing. Like, yeah, you might be able to do all this fancy stuff with your footwork and this and that, but you know what? That dude over there jab better than yours. He
Mm,
throw a good jab every time he throw his jab, and that's why he's more successful in the fight than you because your jab is not that good. Sometimes you don't pick it back up the right way, and it's down, and people are doing things that they shouldn't be able to do to you because you got the talent, but you didn't work on one thing first and you started doing the other stuff. I kind of always revert back to that because people are able to, visualize what I'm saying. And like you said, just focus, like read the documentation, soak up as much knowledge. Find, I always say, like, find one of the smartest people on the team or whatever and just go learn from them.
mm.
Like, do your due diligence, but then if you can't handle something, ask them and they'll be willing to help as long as you were trying to help yourself by reading the documentation or you did enough research and you put your notes saying, I did this, this, and this, and I got here. What am I missing? those type of things will take you far, because not only will you be learning, but those other people start saying like, you know what, hey, this dude is, he's trying to go far. He's like, he's trying to get better. He's asking the right questions, and he has that motivation that he's going to be pretty good. And senior people can see that.
Mm,
We can see when somebody just coming in to come in, and then we can see when somebody really is trying to put that work
right.
in. So uh, that's what's up when you say just focus. Um, so we'll also say things like, so you did the cert route first,
Yeah.
but what type of skills would you say people would need, like, to be a SOC analyst? Because see, I have a lot of people like we say, oh, I want to be a SOC analyst, I want to be a SOC analyst. And I tend to try to tell people sometimes, I was like, depending on what type of SOC it is, depending on the company, SOC analyst isn't really necessarily an entry level job, because it requires you to know a wealth of knowledge about different things. And that's why it's not necessarily entry level. That's why some people don't really get it, even though they have like these certs and stuff like that, because they're looking for somebody that's a little bit more well rounded, that has a little bit more skills in everything, to where they could focus. Because if you don't know anything about anything, if they put you in front of a sim, you're gonna take hours on one alert. You're gonna be like, oh, what's this? What's a service account? What is this? And it can take forever because you don't understand the basis of operation systems and batch jobs and things like that. So could you tell the people, like, what are some things that they should work on if they want to be a SOC
Yeah, for
analyst?
sure. I started off, with the IT support, and I loved IT support. I'm not even gonna lie. I know most people hated it, like, but man, I enjoyed myself because like you just see so much at a high level, And so, dog, there's nothing wrong with starting with IT support. Actually, it probably would profit you, to some degree. But I also seen a lot of people come in with zero experience. Like the job I worked, they trained us for 2 months straight, and they sent us through all type of like everything from networking to computer knowledge, basic knowledge, and to um, every like a lot of like uh, pen testing tools that are seen in the alerts and all those things. Like, and we walked through and we got to mess with some of this stuff and just so it was a great training. But I can say this: most of the guys came in with some type of prerequisite of dealing with a computer. Because I jumped into IT, I hadn't even messed with a computer, you know. And so a lot of these people they have like some prereqs of like they know what an operating system is, they know what Windows is, they know what Linux is, like, or if they don't know what Linux is, they have an understanding of just how computers work. Maybe they're like super, geeked out a little bit on the side, So, but yeah, I would say the prereqs that you really need is, man, just understanding first of all what a computer is, and like understanding the file system, and then like networking, understanding a little bit about networking. You ain't gotta be an expert, but just a little bit. um and man, from there I feel like you can take off. But if you do this as a hobbyist, man, and you got like, you come in with a little bit of hunger, like I feel like, man, you excel, But yeah, you got to definitely know some prereqs. Like you gonna really struggle if you don't. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And you hit the nail on the head. And listen, guys, I want to let y'all know, when I started my first SOC job, I came from help desk. So I was live. I was really process oriented and ticket oriented. So I always would pay attention to things, that did or didn't make sense. But as far as like me knowing how to work a sim, which we had the most horrible sim ever, which was freaking what's that thing called we had? It was called Nitro, but then they changed to McAfee. Some it's McAfee's proprietary sims. Horrible. But I really didn't know what I was looking at either. One, and the biggest thing is because, and this is something that seasoned people talk about, your SOC can only be as good as the information they're getting in the sim.
Mm.
So if you got a lot of noise, trash, don't have the right logs in there, there's not a lot that they can do to protect the company or whoever client they're servicing, because the logs are bad, rules are bad. It's a lot of trash, stuff ain't functioning right. When I worked that job, the only thing we really looked at was WannaCry. So, and that's crazy. That's the only thing. And then I would just go in. So how I got better at using SIM was that I went in and I used to regex everything, and not the uh, super hard regex that you have to do in certain sims, but our regex is super was simpler. When you have the wild card, and I forgot what something else you have to do, you store it in a search bar. But I would just go through and look for old CVEs that shouldn't be firing, and I compiled a list, and I used to just send them to the engineering team to help with tuning. And so what I used to do is sell myself on once I got laid off was that my company was like I helped tune the sim, and doing all that actually helped me learn. Like if you use a tool like Splunk, or I forgot you guys, I think you guys have a
Yeah,
proprietary thing.
G-Tab.
Doing that though helps you get familiar with different logs. And I used to take notes. Like my last gig, I would take notes. I had like a OneNote of like the indexes and my different searches I use, how to be more efficient in my searches. What am I looking for? So I'm not spending a lot of time on that. And that's kind of the way I used to train my analysts when they would come in. It's like, okay, boom, this is how I look at this. This is why I do this. This is why I do this. I base everything. I'm gonna say this to the day I die when it comes to SOC analysts. I base everything I do off of trend analysis, because if it's a trend, most of the time it's normal. Anything off the trend could technically be anything deviating from the trend could be bad, and you should look into that.
Mm.
That's the first step. Because a lot of times I would go back 7 days, 30 days, 3 months. Okay, this is normal. This is normal. We just see a EC2 instance come out of nowhere. Let's check in with that. Let's go back 6 months, see if the same thing happened before and we just hadn't seen it fire every so often. Read the rules. The correlation rules will tell you what it's supposed to do. Go research them. If you don't know what some fire, what type of Windows ID it is, they have all type of Win event ID sites that'll show you what they do. So those are some of my small helpful tips. Eventually, when I do like a SOC course, if I partner with somebody, uh, that'll be things we teach you guys, so you can hit the ground running when you go work at a
Dude,
SOC,
that's
because it's a lot to
yeah,
take
I
in.
would say, man, like if you're doing that with your team, like with helping other people, like dude, that's probably like 90% of the job, man. Just like
Yeah.
because you the king of the sock. but but
Nah, I'm not the king. Listen, Eric. Listen, Eric Thomas is the SOC coach. He's the king of the SOC. He was. I don't know if you've seen my podcast, like how to have a successful SOC career. He's the king
oh,
of the
he's the
SOC.
king of the sock.
I'm
Where
just a guy.
you
Yeah, cause see, I'm not even in the SOC environment no more.
well,
Right
you
now,
understand like the
I'm doing
processes, man.
incident response. Yeah, definitely. I mean, always, because that's. I mean, I'm trained like that. So now, even when it comes to handling incidents, like problem is up, I'm at a new company. They have different tools, but the thought process of handling stuff does not change. You got to be a little bit more thorough, because now I can get to be involved in all cycles, as far as like the containment, the remediation, everything. I used to just be part of like the alert firing, deciding if it was an incident or not. Boom, sending it to the IR team. Now I am the IR team, so that's a little bit of a difference, but it's good experience, because my next thing I want to go to, I want to be a director,
Mhm.
like over a SOC
And that's
or some IR. Sorry,
yeah, yeah, and that's what's up.
but so you've been doing, like we said at the beginning, it's almost been a year, and I'll tell you like anybody, which we already were discussing earlier, but it's pretty much time to get that bag again, because you got about a year experience, and that's how you get paid early on, is see multiple environments and get the bag. So what's
Yeah,
next? What are you planning
man, I try to
next?
keep it low key, but but definitely. But I definitely I'm trying to go into threat intel or some type of engineering role. But but if it's an analyst role and they paying right, then I don't mind kind of going with the flow. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to get into threat intel. So I think that's where I kind of want to take my career.
Definitely. Also, man, I've been seeing y'all company having a lot of positions, man. We gonna give you a free shout out so you get some referrals or something. Like y'all got any positions open
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, our organization, man, we some ghosts, man.
or
Dude, they
growing?
some, but it's some ghosts in there, man. Like I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, man. Y'all got. Did you meet my guy Aaron yet? Aaron May. Did you ever get a chance to talk with him?
What department is he in?
He works with. I think he's like a Splunk engineer.
Okay, maybe so. I can't. I mean, sometimes I see him, sometimes I don't. But there are just so many people now coming into the
Okay.
company.
Yeah, I suggest you to probably send him a message when you can.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Uh,
But yeah, man, there's some goats in it. Like, now the competition at Critical Start, man, top of the line. Like, I hate to say it, man. Like, if you got a question, man, like everybody's in there knowledgeable, man. Like, yeah, dog. So it's yeah.
Good. That's how you learn, man. You in there with people that actually talk up, so that's a good environment for you to learn from. So that's definitely cool. But I think that's why you far away now. You in
Yeah, I'm
Grapevine,
in
right?
Grapevine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're in Grapevine. I remember we are still supposed to. Oh no, we got something coming up. Like while I'm on here, I'm supposed to. I have a team, and we're trying to plan a DFW Tech meetup for March. We'll probably resume talks on that on Monday to see what we can do in between now and March, depending on this uh,
Pandemic stuff.
virus, disease stuff, COVID stuff. So hopefully, we don't have no shutdown, and we can go from there. But my last thing is, because you're one of the first people I've had on here, I plan to have other future clients on here just talk about, their experience like in their professional careers. But if you was to tell somebody came and said, "Hey, I see that you use, HD services for textual consulting. Now, would you recommend them coming, or booking with me? What would be your answer or your pitch to them about that if they came and reached out to you about
Yeah,
that?"
man. I would say, yeah, like, man, I would evangelize this thing, as far as like, oh, it benefited me so much, like, so, man, yeah, I say, man, go do it because it's going to pay dividends. Like, if you invest in yourself, like, it's going to pay off a lot. And I feel like, man, like, for me personally, I can't speak for other people, but for me, man, it paid dividends and it's still paying dividends to this day. And I invested a little bit and got back too much. So,
Yeah, definitely, man. Listen, I'm not even. This ain't a boot camp or a course yet. So I mean, just imagine if you come in the early goings and get a good return on investment. I helped. I think one of my other clients. I think she's up like 25K over a year ago. At her new job, she had like 2 or 3 promotions. Um, my last client, she can pay what double what she was making. It's a remote role that she didn't even think she was going to get. Like she's one of the ones. These are all the people that came in ready to work. And I got some other stories too of people I negotiate, like help people with their offers and stuff like that. I help with everything because as a newbie, sometimes you don't feel your leverage and you might be a little bit scared of like getting rejected. But if they send you an offer letter, they want you. They expect for you to negotiate your offer, so don't be scared about that. You know what I'm saying? I've been in positions where I didn't always negotiate. This last offer, I negotiated more money, but I used to be like, man, this is more than I was making. I'm finna take it. So I definitely get that sentiment. But one thing is, it depends on, like, most of the time what you take now is going to be predicated on what you get later. So that's why you want to try to get as much as you can. If you're watching this too, I'm gonna give you a free gem. If a recruiter asks you about what you're getting paid now, it don't have anything to do with the current job you're interviewing for. So just redirect the question and say, let's talk about this, or decline it, and tell them, well, that has no bearings on this role right here. And they should just leave it alone because they're just trying to fish for information, sometimes trying to lowball you. But, it is what it is. But we didn't want to hold you long on this special episode. Ricarlos, where can the people connect with you at?
mostly, man, just on LinkedIn. Ricarlos Hunt, just look me up. Ricarlos Hunt, Hunt. And man, hey, I know we talked about prerequisites, man, but don't be afraid. Like, the most anybody can ever say to you is no, and you will learn, man. There's nothing like learning on the job, man. Like, like, I mean, if you get fired, you get fired, but man, go take it, man. Go take it by the horns. So don't be afraid.
Hey, that's big facts, and I don't know who just knocked on my door like that. But y'all know where y'all can get me at, man. I'm on my social media, be in the description. And if you want to book, I got consultations open back right now. So yeah, man, I'm trying to help everybody in 2022. It's your boy HD. Let's get textual.
So